Alright, welding 1 and welding 2. This is the directions and introduction for the custom cell phone holder. Starts this Friday and it is due on Friday, December 6th. It is due at the end of the hour on Friday, December 6th. I will be collecting them and then you will get them back a week later after the last opportunity for people to turn it in late has passed. So, with that, this is a cell phone holder, again, but it's not this design. You cannot use this design. We are still using these shapes of pieces, these two pieces, to make the cell phone holder. That's what you're restricted to. If you need to start over, that's fine, but we're using those shapes of pieces. Two reasons. One, that keeps us all working with the same amount of metal, and we're not going to end up with something that's huge in the construction of this project. And also, we have to use up the supplies and the material that we have, and we have a bunch of this that we do have a limited use for with other projects, so we're going to use it for this. So with this, I'm looking at the rubric right now. I recommend you guys pause this video and look at the rubric so that way you can see what I'm saying. The criteria are smooth, so the edges and surfaces are sanded smooth. You get up to 30 points. This is the biggest part of this category. A lot of the cell phone holders that were turned into me, not only were they rough, they weren't taken care of it all. They still have lots of rough edges on them. So this one, what we need to improve on as we produce quality products is it needs to be safe to handle for one, but it also needs to look good. So take the grinder to it, take down any rough edges, and then take a sander disc to it, and you're going to smooth the entire thing. Okay? That's worth 30 points, 30 out of 100. Parts are connected at 90 degrees. That's the next part. So using this as an example, this is not, you're not using this design, but you can see that this is 90 degrees and that is connected at 90 degrees. That's what I'm talking about with 90 degree connection. So this might limit how you're constructing this. If you need to work outside of that with different angles, how you put this together, just get that approved by me before you do it, because I will be looking for 90 degree connections. That shows me that you can control the distortion. As you weld on one side, it's going to pull the metal towards the weld. As the weld puddle shrinks, contracts, it's going to pull the metal that way. I need to see that you can control the distortion that's going to happen. So that's how I'm doing that. That is worth 20 points. It holds your phone. Simply put, phone goes on it. Does it stand? Do you have to put your phone more on one side than the other side so that way it doesn't tip over? That was the case with some of these phone holders that were just turned in with the original design. That affects your grade. If the phone has to be placed on it just right so it doesn't tip over, your grade goes down. Okay, your phone goes on it, hold your phone, awesome, success. The next category is worth 20 points also. This is quality welds. Your welds need to be quality. That might mean that you completely create this entire design. You know, we'll use this one for example. You completely create it, but your welds weren't very good, and so then you have the opportunity to completely remake your project. That's not a bad thing. I'm providing the metal and everything else you need. You need to provide the time and the effort to get it done. You might have to completely redo it, and that's okay. But your welds need to be quality. That means that when we're looking at them, I don't know if I'll be able to get this to show up. This is more what you're looking for. You want it to be nice and smooth. You want it to be equal on both parts that you're welding together. But that's important. The last category to bring us to 100 points is on time. So you either turn it in on Friday, December 6th, or you didn't. And you get those points with that in mind. So other notes that I have written down to bring to everyone's attention is to, one, review the rubric. Actually look at the rubric so that way you know how you're being graded. I'm literally checking boxes for every single person in welding 1 and 2 who turns this in. And side note, welding 2, you are making yours out of steel as well. Okay, so this will be challenging for you because you're getting back to flux core after not being in it for so long because you've been working with aluminum. So welding 2, you will be using steel as well. Review the rubric. Before you start your design, actually throwing anything together, don't waste plasma cutter consumables, don't waste weld metal, it's all expensive, don't waste the metal. Draw your idea on paper. Draw it, sketch it out, draw it on the metal, get your idea together before you ever start cutting anything. That's important. I do not appreciate waste at all. This is learning, so there is waste already, but I do not care for needless waste. So create a plan and then execute the plan. Update it as you go, improve it as you go, redo it if you have to, but don't be wasteful on purpose or carelessly. Okay, as far as a quality product too, a lot of you figured out in this last assignment, at least 50% of you did, and then another 50% of you, so literally about 50 people, did not figure it out that when you use the plasma cutter, you have to cut really, really slow to get a nice edge on the side of it. Okay, this is a plasma cutter edge, and it was cut slow, like extremely ridiculously slow. But when you cut slow, it gives you a very clean cut. The dross that's on the back side of it from the metal melting away, that just pulls right off. Grab a pair of pliers and it just literally just breaks right off the metal. You're not spending extra time grinding just to make the edge smooth. If you're spending we'll say more than 10 minutes grinding, you've done something wrong. Okay, you should be cutting to the quality, especially at this point in the year. You should be cutting to the quality that you're only grinding just to prepare the metal for the sandpaper to make it smooth. You don't need to spend extra time grinding. If you're spending more than 10 minutes grinding, you need to redo what you've or redo how you've done it because you've done it wrong. You're not going slow enough. And some other things that can produce bad plasma cuts. You're not using two hands. Put two hands on the trigger and pull your cut back towards you. When you're pushing, the plasma, the drag tip will tend to get caught on every little thing, and you can't get over it without making your metal wavy on the cut. If you start away from you and pull it back towards you, that produces a much cleaner cut. Next thought for you guys, clamp a piece of metal like angle iron or tube steel. I have a bunch of tube steel available for you to clamp onto it. So if you measured out where your line is, you drew a line, half an inch away is where you'd clamp your metal. And then you can just drag your torch right along the edge of the metal. The torch goes up against that metal and drags with it. Some of you are still using the metal, the guide, wrong. It's not, you're not pointing towards the metal. It's literally parallel with the metal, and the torch just runs right along it. Next thought, make sure you're locking your stuff up and putting it all away. Lots of people have left their pieces out. They've been recycled. They've been picked up by somebody else, and that part has been used. Pick your stuff up, lock it in your locker, take care of your stuff so you don't have to keep redoing it. It's annoying. It slows you down. It makes a mess of the shop. It doesn't take care of our shop that we want to be nice. Take care of your stuff. Make sure you know where it's at any point in the class hour. If you have any questions, please ask me as we go. I've covered the majority of everything that you need to know for this. Get creative. I do have a couple ideas, extra features that you can throw into your cell phone holder. Add a pencil holder to it. Maybe you can make a little box or something, or a slot or something that can hold pencils. You can include, and you don't have to, include a charger cord slot, kind of like what we had on the last one, where the charger cord can be through it. A charger cord wrap up, to where you can wrap the cord around it so you don't got extra cord laying around. Maybe you want to powder coat it, weld your name into it, etc. You have lots of options to pursue with making this unique, making it nice, making it stand up better than the last one, making it lighter than the last one. There's a lot of ideas on just what can you do to have this new cell phone holder be tremendously lighter than the last one. For example, I could have this same cell phone holder here, but on this back piece, I could cut out the whole middle of this with the plasma cutter, and that would make this tremendously lighter because that would be removed. It would still have the support that it did previously. It doesn't need to be super strong, so we don't need all of this middle, so I could remove it. Maybe I could have done that on here, made some slots or something. So there's ideas on how to make your design a lot lighter and more unique. See me if you have any questions. Happy building.